Welcome to Wayne County Connection. I'm your host, Michael Sweigart. Thanks for joining us for another interesting program where we promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. We do that by connecting you, our viewers, with our guests and the agencies that they represent that are doing their part to make Wayne County a great place for people to enjoy employment, to enjoy residing, and to enjoy social activities and getting connected in community. We have some great communities here in Wayne County, and we're going to be talking with those a little bit later, but we want to encourage you to do your part, and you can do that by getting connected at waynet.org/cc. There you can find more information about today's program with links for contact information. But one of the great things about our website at waynet.org/cc is where you can share the program with people who may not be able to view it when it's broadcast live on cable television. The program is available on demand and streaming through Whitewater Community Television. We encourage you to visit our website to find out more about that and to share that with people who are outside of the area and to get them to come and visit and maybe move and work here. It's a great place here in Wayne County, Indiana. There are other things that you can find on waynet.org, and that is one of the things is the calendar, and there you can find activities that are going on in the area, and you can find out information about ways that you can get involved with various agencies and find out about volunteer organizations or other activities that might interest you and be a way for you to get involved and to do your part to make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. You know, I say that repeatedly, and I really appreciate you viewers, our regular viewers, for doing your part to get connected and getting connected, especially with our guests. Today, we are so excited to have with us Jim King, and Jim is the president of the Cambridge City Main Street organization. Jim King, thanks for joining us to talk about Cambridge City, Western Wayne County. We're excited to have you on the show today.
Great, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
For many people who may not recognize your face or may not know you, let's talk and start with our connection and have you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and your connection with Wayne County.
So I have been very fortunate to be a part of Wayne County and specifically Cambridge City for over 35 years. Jill, my wife, and I and family, we have been here for quite a long time. I'm originally from New York and other places in the U.S., and we decided to settle here, and it's great to be here.
So a great place to live, and you've been here for most of your adult life with 35 years, and so you know a lot about what's going on in Wayne County. And how did you get to be involved with the Main Street organization there in Cambridge City?
The Cambridge City Main Street is an organization that formed a number of years ago, and a couple of years ago, we decided to revitalize the organization, working directly with Landmarks and the Wayne County Foundation and other organizations to rethink the organization and build up its position and its opportunity for serving Cambridge City. So I got involved along with a few others, joining existing members of the board. And it was really just an effort of wanting to contribute and be a part of a great team of people that are working towards the future of Cambridge City.
People here in Wayne County may be familiar with the term Main Street. It's something that's been a big topic in the county really for quite some time, but it kind of has a specific connotation, a specific meaning when we start talking about the Main Street organizations. And residents of Richmond may have heard of Main Street Richmond and the downtown revitalization or uptown revitalization efforts that are going there. So Main Street is really a bigger project than just Cambridge City. Could you give our viewers who may have only heard the term but not familiar with the organization like a 30,000-foot view of what Main Street is?
Sure. The Main Street organization within Cambridge City is a part of a national effort, a national organization to work to create transformation strategies and to transform small communities to mid-sized communities. There are 4 Main Street organizations within the county: Hagerstown, Centerville, Richmond, and Cambridge City. And the idea is to work with the philosophy and the thinking of the national organization. And then, of course, at the state level, there is a state Main Street organization as well that we are a part of. And Main Streets work within communities to help better those communities. Volunteers come together to act on strategies that are set by the board of that Main Street organization and commit to deliver both solutions as well as opportunities for people to work together.
So while it's a kind of a national group or organization, really it's grassroots driven. So it's really the local organization that is really putting the most effort and idea and impetus behind what kinds of changes affect your Main Street.
Yes. Oh, we are definitely local organizations. We operate within a set of high-level guidelines, again, a philosophy. For example, the transformation strategies that the national or the state level bring to us, we then organize around those. So we have 4 or 5 committees within our Main Street organization that focus on organization, economic vitality, promotions, and design. And those 4 committees then work also with a 5th that we have in Cambridge City called Caring for Cambridge, which is again, a volunteer component of the organization where we bring together groups for cleanup, for working to help residents or businesses improve their buildings, their property values. And all this does is help, all boats rise together. That's our goal, is to bring the level of opportunity, the level of economic vitality, and also the betterment or the well-being of the people that live in our community up together.
So it sounds like in Wayne County in particular, and the Main Street organization in general, but in Cambridge City, you're really focusing not only on the physical infrastructure, though that's important, and not just on business development or what businesses you're bringing, or not just on residential, but on how they all work together and what's needed to make them all better so that, as you said, all boats can rise together. Seems kind of like a broad focus and really hard to make any progress. How do you do that in Cambridge City?
It takes time. This is an effort, again, started by a group of people a number of years ago and continuing now with the current board. But our goal is we don't do this just by ourselves, of course. We are partnered with local government, with the Chamber of Commerce, both locally as well as at the county level. We are part of a Main Street Coalition group, which is in the county, which again includes the 4 main streets within the county, working to understand best practices, understand how to fundraise, how to generate interest. And no, it does take time. We make movements as best we can, but we're also supported by other efforts in the area. It's not just Main Street. There are many other groups that are working to better where we live.
So one of the things that I hear while you're talking, it just keeps dinging in my head, is connection, connection, connection. You're connected with the chambers of commerce. You're connected with other Main Street organizations. You're connected with the local businesses and local government and local volunteer groups as well. So there's a lot of people working together to make Cambridge City a great place to work, live, and play.
Yes, that's true. It's wonderful to see our local chamber or our town council or the Kiwanis groups or other organizations that want to help make where we live better. And Cambridge City Main Street's focus is primarily the downtown area. We have a district that we call it, where we focus to help businesses primarily come into the town, or if they need to make some improvements. Our goal is to be there for them. We're really working hard to also generate corporate support. One of our primary sponsors is Sugar Creek, for example, as a local, significant local business to Cambridge City, but they're also a contributor and a part of what we're trying to do, as well as other companies.
Sure, and people may really be familiar with downtown or Main Street Cambridge because it's right along US 40 and several blocks there of businesses and other activities going on right there on US 40 in western Wayne County. So that area has a designation, and you mentioned it earlier, landmarks, of being kind of an historic area there along US 40 in Cambridge City. How does that impact the activities of Main Street and what you can do in that several block area?
Yes, so our district that the Main Street organization pays attention, well, we pay attention to the entire town, but we focus on what is called it's a National Historic Registry district within Cambridge City that represents hundreds of buildings. Cambridge City is a very historic town. It's a transportation hub, like you said, across situated on the National Road. We were also the intersection of four major rail lines over time. We had a canal coming from Cincinnati and through our town. And then the National Road from an automobile standpoint. The National Road was created 200 years ago to go from Maryland and be the gateway all the way to the west. And so practically everyone that settled the United States going westward probably came through the major thoroughfares like the National Road through Cambridge City. So the Main Street philosophy is also not only about economic vitality and transformation, but it is keeping in mind the historic nature of your towns. And Cambridge City is blessed with a very wide Main Street, many historic homes and buildings downtown, and we have been working to make them look or help them look as good as they can. And what's interesting about Cambridge City and of course the other towns in the county is that people are coming to the small towns. They're wanting to live here. They're wanting to put businesses downtown. So our storefronts are almost all full. Yes, we do focus. We have a focused business on eating establishments. We have a focused business on antiques and small shops. And we're blessed with the growth we've had, and we're looking forward to future growth.
And there's a lot to see on Main Street in Cambridge City. As you mentioned, there's some great eating establishments there. There's some great antique shops. We've had the picture just showing up of the old log cabin, the old log house, and other historic, and the murals that are there celebrating some of the history of Cambridge City. And it's really building on that history and maintaining that and preserving that and using it for the next step in growth and development of your community to keep it alive and growing, as it were, in Cambridge City, and that national philosophy to replicate those best practices, the things that you find that work or things that other people find that work, to make every boat rise, not just in Cambridge City, but everywhere else. But in Cambridge City in particular, you've had some great boat rising. There have been some things that are really going on over there. And you mentioned earlier, I want to kind of tie this in, you mentioned 4 or 5 areas of focus that you have. And I wanted to talk about those because it might spark an interest in one of our viewers about something that they might like to get involved with. So could you go over those areas of focus and how they are impacting Main Street in Cambridge City?
Sure. So the areas that, again, we focus on being how we organize to be successful. How do we help the economic vitality of the area by working together with business owners or potentially talking to new business owners? Promoting the town, promoting what we're doing. So promotions is very important. And a group or a committee called Design, which is the idea of how do we create common message? How do we create common branding for the town? And in some of these areas, we have a long way to go. We're really just getting started. But one of the key areas is how we partner with those in the community. And what we're seeing is some great activity at our schools where we see the school system wanting to be a part of the efforts to create a better downtown district as well as the overall community. And so we're excited about, as you mentioned earlier, some of those partnerships that we hope to continue to maintain as well as continue to grow.
Are there any specific successes that you can talk about that have happened in the last few months or years that people might say, oh yeah, I remember when that happened, and that's a really great outcome for Main Street?
As most or all 4 of the communities that have a Main Street organization are working on within the county, Cambridge City is also focused on how do we fill in spots in our downtown with new business opportunities. And a number of private owners have invested significantly in restaurant activities, whether it be Number 9 Grill or King's Cafe, or working to grow even Lakeview, which is just outside of the downtown district. These restaurants have been very important parts of what we're doing, as well as established restaurants like one of our favorites, Hilltop, in town. And then we're also seeing new retail opportunities with a new marketplace which has been built on Main Street or antique shops that are really a good part of what we do as a community. So we're seeing money being invested into properties downtown, buildings being maintained, which is a wonderful thing, and we hope to maintain that level of investment so it attracts, because what happens is when, again, back to all boats rising, is when we invest, others will invest. And when we commit our time, like for the Caring for Cambridge Committee, that is working to have cleanups in town and helping people organize and have a better approach to how to take care of their properties. We think that that just brings more value to the community, and people will notice, whether it's in our education, whether it's in our housing values, whether it's in job opportunities, and it is going to take time, but we're trying our best.
Now, we've spent a lot of time, admittedly, talking about business opportunities and business in particular on Main Street, but there are other elements. You mentioned just a minute ago the Caring for Cambridge, and one of the aspects of the community that we talked about earlier is residential, or where we live in Cambridge City. Is there much housing or residential opportunity there directly on Main Street in Cambridge City or near Main Street?
There is. So along the corridor of Main Street and just off the streets, say north and south, there are people that are taking time and effort to invest in those properties. We have a new apartment building that opened on Main Street that has 4 new apartments in it, as well as retail space. We have another building on Main Street that is called the Lofts on Main, which is a place for people to stay that are coming to visit. It's not exactly a bed and breakfast, it's purely a loft where you have a kitchen and a place to stay right downtown, as well as then there are retail establishments underneath those lofts. We are looking to see other buildings like that. We have a new young owner of an old apartment building that is working to restore that apartment building downtown. We have other investors that have done a wonderful job to for example, take the library in town, a historic property built in the 1930s, and has created an event space out of that library. While we have a brand new library just down Main Street at what was the Chevrolet car dealership. And it's just great architecture work has been done, design work, bringing some interest to the town by many private owners. And we would love to see more of that happen in Cambridge City.
Now, you just kind of alluded to the third leg of the stool. That is, we have employment. We just talked about residential or living just a little bit ago, or just a second ago. And then you mentioned the library, and we talk about social activities. Once people have a business and a place to live downtown, then the next step is, what are we going to do downtown other than, eat, shop, and sleep? What about the other activities there? I know there's a park nearby to downtown and other recreational activities. Let's talk about what's available year-round, and then what Main Street specific events or things that happen on a recurring basis.
Yeah, so there's a lot in a small town that's happening. I think of what borders or what bounds, almost like a mall. What's our big stores that we, metaphorically speaking, provide value to our town? The Gole Center, the Gole Community Center, is at one end of our downtown, and it is just an absolutely amazing center with Olympic-sized pool, gyms, meeting rooms, fitness center. So there's a lot of good membership there. As you go through town, there is a very significant park just off of Main Street. We have many events in town. We have a farmers market in town. We have the canal annual Canal Days Festival, which is in September. We have a number of antique fairs that bring hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people into our town for many antique vendors and stores, of course. We have historic properties where people can take tours or take a look at what we have to offer from a home standpoint, as well as businesses. So when you bring together the fairs, the the antique shows, the Cambridge City, just the vibe of Cambridge City. It's a small town, but people seem to really love it. They love to come visit. And the places where a family, the Golay family, put significant amount of money into a great facility there in Cambridge City. It's just a hallmark for what we have to offer as a town. And we don't have a movie theater, although I would love to have one downtown. There used to be a great, it's what was called the Indiana Grand Theater. We haven't had an opera house in town. We had multiple places where people came to town to experience life, and we're just trying to get a little bit of that back.
We've talked a lot about, and you mentioned the rich history of Cambridge City and where you've come from, what's going on now. And as we come toward the wrap of our program, I would like to cast a light on the future and without holding your feet to the fire, say, Jim, what's next for Main Street, Cambridge City? And where are you working on now to continue that growth and revitalization?
It's a good question because one of the things that I counsel when I speak to other groups is that small towns always live on an edge. It's whether that edge is around the economics of our nation or the economics of our local area. It's always work that must be done by people that take the time to volunteer and be a part of the communities they live in to help maintain that economic vitality, to work with youth within our educational activities, to volunteer in whatever group you possibly can to continue to grow a small town like Cambridge City. Because if we don't do that, Cambridge City or any surrounding towns can slide back. They can slide back into disrepair, slide back into not being as relevant as they could be. So what we see going forward is more investment into small businesses in town. We have at least 2 new businesses starting in the very near future downtown, and we have more hopefully starting. And we also have investment happening in our historic properties that will continue. And I'm excited about where we're headed because of the people we get to work with.
Are there ways for Cambridge City or Wayne County residents to get involved either directly with Main Street organization or where you can plug them in with other organizations? You mentioned a lot of by name in the Cambridge City area where they can invest their time, effort, and talents?
Yes. So Cambridge City Main Street is, again, it represents, it's 9 people on a board, but it also has, there are people that volunteer to be a part of what we do. We meet the last Thursday of every month, and usually in the local newspapers' offices. By the way, we have a wonderful local newspaper, the West Main News, which is a great asset for a small community like ours, and we meet in their offices. And we would invite anyone to come join us to be a part of our volunteer activities. Certainly the other organizations that are in town that I talked about, Kiwanis and other groups would love to have volunteers join, and we can certainly help guide people to see what they might want to participate in.
And how would people get involved or get in contact directly with you or Main Street in Cambridge City to learn more about that? We've had the website flash up there, cambridgecityindiana.org, several times during our program, but are there other ways to get connected directly with you that you would like to share?
Sure. If anyone would like to email to me, I am at kjim@hotmail.com. That's just a personal email, not my business email. Again, kjim@hotmail.com. And that's the way I communicate with lots of people on what events are happening and what things can be done. Also, you can go to the town offices to probably find other organizations that you might want to meet with. And we all would be willing to and want to help people, especially businesses and other organizations that would like to be a part of what we're trying to do.
We've got a couple of minutes left in our program, and I'd like to kind of wrap back or circle back to the idea that Main Street, Cambridge City is part of a larger national organization, so forth. Are there resources that you're tapping into at either the state or national level that you're drawing into Cambridge City to help revitalize Main Street in Cambridge City?
Yes. I think right now we are at an unprecedented time of investment that is coming into local environments. So we work with the state Main Street organization, as well as local organizations such as Wayne County Foundation, Forward Wayne County, the Wayne County EDC, and other groups that are helping small towns like Cambridge City have an opportunity to obtain investment dollars through grants, such as through OKRA and other state organizations that will help us attack the problems or the opportunities that we have, such as improving the quality of life, improving educational opportunities, working to restore historic properties, or to build up communications and training opportunities. There are so many ways now that we're seeing money starting to come in from whether it be state or national infrastructure efforts to improve roads, to improve sidewalks, to improve lighting, various projects that small towns have. And it is with, again, these volunteer organizations at both local, but especially at the county and state levels, where we are seeing guidance come in that we are taking part in ourselves. We have applied for a number of grants that we're hoping to see come to fruition for not only our local area, but also for the county. And it's an exciting time, but what we have to do is be good stewards. We have to understand how best to use these funds and how best to make an impact on our communities.
Jim, thank you for those parting words and also for all the information that you've given us about Main Street in Cambridge City here in Western Wayne County, making Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. Thanks for being on the program, and best wishes for much success.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. And viewers, you just heard some great ways that Cambridge City is working to make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. And we encourage you to get connected with Main Street or other organizations over there. If nothing else, visit Cambridge City and see the great opportunities that are available there for you to get involved and connected to maybe work, live, or play in Western Wayne County. On behalf of our producer, Jenny Lauman, the Wayne County Commissioners, our Director, Wes, the rest of the staff here at Whitewater Community Television, I'm your host, Michael Sweigart. Thanks for watching Wayne County Connection. We'll see you next month.